People here have time to lick their wounds, to be traumatized for years about something utterly trivial. They have all the time in the world to think about the meaning of life from one day, 1 month, 1 year to the next, to wonder what they want to do, what kind of profession they wish to have. Well, in my homeland, newborn babies die of a fever and malnourishment. Men die of shots fired to uphold the family honor, and women fleeing from their husbands are killed by the bullets given to their husbands by family during their wedding celebrations. They are buried, and a new day dawns, and nobody has time to mourn for them. Nobody will worry for a second about such matters, because nobody has the time to think any farther than tomorrow, and it would never occur to anyone to wonder whether I became like this because my father died when I was 16, or perhaps because my parents divorced when I was little, or maybe because I only learned as an adult that I was adopted. Because a hungry man thinks of other things altogether, the fat, the salt and sugar of his next meal. And when there is no food, he starts to think about a time when suddenly standing up makes his vision blurry, leads to fainting, and eventually death. Are the Italians happier than the Albanians because they think so profoundly about themselves and their dreams? Because they argue with such passion, with the kind of verve that carries them from one day to the next? A verve that doesn't even seem genuine, but rather an attempt to conceal the fact that they don't know who they are or what they want, though they spend their entire lives chewing over the same questions? It is this that forms the underlying power and the depth of their lives, and I can do nothing but despise it. On the move again, I pull my tight polo sweater farther down, adjust the position of my padded bra, and tug up my denim shorts, which stretch halfway down my thighs. I look at the thin, beautiful women walking side by side, proudly wearing their summer dresses, and I envy them. I envy their names, Julia, or Celia, or Laura. I envy the way they walk in their stilettos, envy the pitch of their voices, the way they talk as though they have not a care in the world, their ability to give their current or future husbands children, things I will never be able to achieve, neither with all the hope in the world, nor with the readiness to give anything for them. All I can ever have is a copy of their life, a photograph in which I look almost like them, but not quite, a lie that must be created from nothing. I arrive at the Piazza Navona, an oblong square with 3 ornately decorated fountains, the center one of which looks like a delicate Italian woman with its tapered obelisk standing proudly in the middle. The square, too, is full of tourists throwing coins into the fountains, though the things they wish for are probably laughable. They want their former beloved back, or their partner to pay them more attention. Still, I understand them, because that is the way the old curse goes. Everybody wants something they do not have, and everybody feels as though the lack of this one thing cannot bear the light of a single new day. The Piazza Navona looks the same as the other squares in Rome, faded buildings erected around the cobbled square, the streets between them just big enough to fit through without suffocating, buildings that are lined so close to one another that the whole city seems like one enormous barrack, and the motorways surrounding it resembling barbed wire fences designed to keep people apart. All of a sudden, the buildings around me seem ominous, and the stones beneath my shoes seem to lick the soles of my feet as though they were ready to bite them off. I manage to gasp a handful of air and continue on my way, tears falling from my eyes as though through a still, and for a moment I think it must be raining, until I realize there is not a cloud in the sky. I arrive at the Ponte Umberto I. I stand at the top of the bridge and first look right, then left, at the Castel Sant'Angelo, which resembles a moldy orange, at the people incessantly taking photographs, at the green trees planted along the riverbank, at the flowing, almost misty waters of the Tiber. Then I cross the street leading to the Piazza dei Tribunali and walk a short way forward until I reach the long tongue of steps leading up to the Castel, the only place where there are no longer any pedestrian crossings and the drivers dare to go a little faster. I glance briefly over my shoulder and imagine that I won't have to wait for long. But several minutes pass until the tires of a large enough car whistle in my ears and I lunge into the road.